She humiliated me in front of everyone for giving her a cheap gift. So I took back the car I bought her, walked out of her party, and months later, she showed up at my event begging for another chance, but I'd already moved on. It all started on a Friday evening at Leia's Loft, a place decorated with soft jazz, flickering candlelight, and a crowd that seemed to thrive on applause more than authenticity. I remember standing there with a small gift box in my hand, wrapped in silk that caught the warm glow of the lamps. Inside was something thoughtful, a travel organizer she had once mentioned casually during a late-night call. It was practical, elegant, and useful, not flashy, not loud, but meaningful. I thought that was what counted most when you loved someone. Jenna, my girlfriend of 2 years, sat at the table surrounded by friends. Laughter filled the room as she opened gifts, designer boxes, perfumes, and expensive trinkets. When it was my turn, I handed her the box with a smile that held both nervousness and love. She tore the paper, lifted the lid, and her expression changed instantly. "That's it," she said flatly, her voice cutting through the music. For a second, the room fell silent. And then, with a laugh that felt like a knife, she added, "Not with me. It's cheap. If you can't afford a proper gift, don't come to my parties." Her words hit me hard. The same lips that once whispered she loved my simplicity now mocked me in front of everyone. My chest tightened as faces turned toward me. Curious, amused, some even pitying. I sat there in shock, trying to hold on to dignity while my heart cracked quietly inside. I had bought her a car months ago, a brand new model, a gift that had made her cry with joy back then. But that night, none of it mattered. She wanted to impress the crowd more than appreciate what came from the heart. I stood up slowly, every movement heavy. The loft smelled of lemon and perfume, and outside, rain had just begun to fall, thin lines gliding down the windows. I walked out without saying a word, my steps echoing against the wood floor. I didn't mean to leave her forever that moment, but I knew I needed to breathe somewhere that didn't smell like insincerity. When I got to the car, the same one I had gifted her, I sat there for a while, hands on the steering wheel, letting memories flood in. The nights I stayed awake just to talk to her, the dinners I cooked, the times I comforted her through anxiety. All of it felt meaningless now. I realized I had been building a relationship on effort while she built hers on applause. Her calls started coming close to midnight. I ignored the first few until I finally picked up. "Where's my car?" she demanded, her voice no longer sweet, just sharp and entitled. I replied calmly, "The car is mine by your own words. You said my gifts are cheap, so you don't need it." Silence, then anger, then tears. I didn't respond. I just hung up and let the rain drown out the noise. Later that night, I heard a loud knock at my door. Through the peephole, I saw her, soaked from the rain, holding the keys I'd taken back. Her hair was wet, her eyes red, but I couldn't open the door. I couldn't go back to someone who chose a room full of strangers over the person who truly cared. I watched quietly from the hallway as she knocked again and again, then finally walked away. The next morning, I called the locksmith. I changed the locks, packed her belongings, and left a note on the counter beside her keys. "You wanted people who get you. Be with them." It wasn't written out of anger, it was clarity. That day, I drove past the little Italian place where we'd had our first date. The candles still flickered in the window, the music still soft. It should have hurt, but instead, I felt something unexpected: relief. I finally understood that my love had been about care and usefulness, while hers was about applause and image. Over the next few weeks, I began to heal slowly. I donated some of her gifts, sorted out the things we'd shared, and took long walks at night just to hear my own thoughts again. One evening, I saw a post of hers on social media. She was at another party, smiling beside a new guy, the caption reading, "Surrounded by people who get me." Jenna commented with 3 heart emojis followed by "finally free." I looked at the screen, smiled sadly, and locked my phone. No anger, no bitterness, just confirmation that I had walked away at the right time. A week later, she returned to the house, banging on the door, claiming she still lived there. I didn't open it. Instead, I packed the rest of her stuff into a box, left it outside with a note that said the same words. You wanted people who get you. Be with them. Then I drove for hours that night, past familiar streets, past the places that once held meaning. Nothing had changed except me. For the first time, I slept peacefully. The air in my house felt lighter, as if the walls themselves had exhaled. My days turned quiet: work, gym, coffee, solitude. Slowly, the absence of her voice stopped hurting and started feeling like freedom. Then one morning, at 5:47 a.m., my phone buzzed. Can we talk? The message glowed on my screen. My chest tightened for a second, but I didn't reply. 20 minutes later, another text came. I think I made a mistake. Please just hear me out. I placed the phone face down and made my coffee. She had chosen to humiliate me publicly. There was nothing left to hear. But deep inside, I knew her. She wouldn't stop until she got the closure she wanted, not the forgiveness she needed. That evening, another message arrived. Longer, more emotional. She claimed it was Jenna's influence, that she had been drunk, that she never meant it that way. I didn't reply. I left my phone in another room and slept peacefully. But the next evening, just as I expected, there was a knock on my door. When I opened the door, she stood there. Same coat, same perfume, but a different face. One stripped of vanity, of arrogance, of masks. Can we talk? She asked softly, her voice barely above a whisper. For the first time in weeks, I didn't have an immediate answer. I stepped aside silently, and she walked in slowly, her eyes wandering around like she didn't recognize the place anymore. She sat on the couch, her hands trembling as she spoke. I shouldn't have said those things at the party. Jenna kept pushing, and I was drunk. I didn't mean it. I stayed quiet, watching her struggle. You didn't defend me, I finally said, my voice calm but firm. She nodded, her eyes glossy. I know. I froze. No, I said quietly. You chose. She looked down, her voice cracking. After you left, they all laughed about you. Jenna told everyone you took the car back like a child. I pretended not to care, but when you said we were done, I realized you were the only one who ever truly cared about me. Her confession hung in the air like smoke. Then she added, Jenna wasn't a friend. She introduced me to that guy in my post. Said he was better for me. He paid for everything, said I was classy, until he ghosted me last week. Blocked me on everything. Now Jenna's dating him. I stayed silent. The kind of silence that speaks louder than words. I lost everything, didn't I? She whispered. I looked at her calmly. Now you know what it feels like to be disrespected in public. Tears rolled down her cheeks. You didn't deserve that, she said softly. I thought money and image mattered more than kindness. I was wrong. She stood up slowly. I didn't come here for pity. I just wanted to say sorry. I looked at her, not as the woman I once loved, but as a lesson I had finally learned. Apology accepted, I said quietly. But it doesn't change what happened. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I know. I just needed to tell you. Then she turned toward the door. Before leaving, she whispered, I hope you find someone who sees your worth. I already did, I replied gently. I just didn't realize it wasn't you. That night, the house felt completely still. Not empty, but peaceful. 2 months passed, and life settled into a rhythm. Work, gym, quiet mornings. I no longer checked her socials. I didn't need to. Then one night, at a networking event, I heard a familiar voice. Jenna. She walked over, holding a glass of wine and wearing that same fake smile. So, how's your ex doing? She asked. Why? I replied evenly. Miss her. Her smile faltered. They broke up. The guy used her for money. Now she's been calling me nonstop. I smiled calmly. Didn't you once tell her she deserved better than me? Jenna looked away, embarrassed. I left without another word. Karma had already done its work. Quietly, efficiently, without my help. Weeks later, I attended a charity gala my firm sponsored. The room was elegant, gold lights, soft music, people chatting with polite smiles. And then I saw her, Jenna, standing near the bar, in a simple black dress. When our eyes met, she froze. "Hey," she said. "Didn't think I'd see you here." "Yeah," I replied. "Been a while." "You look good," she said gently. "Thanks." Her eyes drifted to the invitation in her hand. My company's logo printed across the top. "You work for this event?" she asked, voice shaky. "Yeah," I said simply. "Our firm sponsors it every year." Her expression shifted. "Wow," she whispered. "You really made it." I smiled politely. "It's been a good year." "I still think about that night," she said after a moment. "The party, the car, everything. I was selfish. I paid for it." I nodded slowly. Silence said more than any words could. "Jenna and that guy left me. I guess I deserved it," she admitted softly. I looked at her and saw not the girl who humiliated me, but a woman who had learned what it meant to lose something real. "You look happy," she said quietly. "I am," I replied. "Peaceful, actually." That word hit her. Peace. The one thing she could never give me. "I hope you find someone better," she whispered. "I already did," I said. "Myself." Then I walked away, the music fading behind me, leaving the past exactly where it belonged, behind me. If you enjoy stories about strength, karma, and self-respect, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more.